Okay. I I'm a little bewildered by everything that's happened. It's sort of blown my mind, and so I want to thank everybody who's donated. It's unbelievable. I want to thank Ali Velshi and the amazing team at Velshi, not just for telling my story and for pointing the people who reached out to hear that is amazing too. But really, the reason I wrote the email was because I watch news all day. I read news all day. I follow the stimulus discussion. I mean, I follow politics anyway, but this is personal and it's life or death. And we've just been blowing past deadlines just all year. We've just been blowing past deadlines just over and over every single time. They're like, well, it has to be by August 20th. It's going to be a thing. And September 1st, October 29th is going to be, and it's just like, we blew past every one of those deadlines. It's extremely difficult to imagine that we're not going to blow past the rest. For many years in my comedy, I've described what I consider to be the main problem with American politics to be, I'll say it nice for this, debate club BS. It just feels like a lot of people don't make the connection between the political argument they want to win and the lives at stake. And so, I think it's one of the reasons why rhetorical flourishes have become like the order of the day in political debate. And man, we're not in high school anymore, man. I don't care about debate necessarily. I mean, not like it's useless or anything. Of course, it has a use, and I understand, and I'm all for negotiation and everything, sure. But at a certain point, and I don't like using political expressions, but at some point the rubber does hit the road, and underneath the rubber are millions of us getting run over by the rubber on the road. Joe Sixpack, under the rubber on the road. Sorry, I watch a lot of MSNBC. That's why I sent them the email. It's a very strange thing because half of me is unbelievably relieved. Just there was a spring in my guts that's been coiling tighter and tighter since August, at least. Probably the entire year, just watching all the death and being constantly afraid that we're gonna die, or at the very least that my mom's gonna die, and if I, that's not even least. that's the worst thing that could happen. My mom would die, and it would be my fault probably because I've not been careful enough or something. That spring uncoiled on Sunday, and then I guess I just passed out for 16 hours. I wasn't even tired. I didn't think. Apparently I was exhausted beyond all measure, but on one hand, I'm extremely relieved, and I'm so thankful for everybody who donated. It's everything. It's everything. Like, you pulled us back from the brink. But on the other hand, it shouldn't be down to them. It's insane that it's down to them. It makes no sense. It's insane. This is a global pandemic. It's the federal government. They knew enough that they would have to do something, that they passed the CARES Act, which just, I mean, it definitely helped, absolutely helped. $600 kept us going, said so in my letter. Absolutely. But almost all that money, we know where it went. It's a joke, it's an insult, and it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. But I don't want you to think I'm not grateful. I'm insanely grateful. I definitely am to everyone that's helping. But my God, why is that on you? This is not a free market moment. It's not really how it works. Federal government has to do certain things. The infrastructure does not exist for other things to pick it up. If they did, then I'd just call Salvation Army, and I'd be like, hey, help. Salvation Army doesn't help. I'm sorry, I'm sure they do, but they didn't help me, and I don't know how to get them to help. But I don't want to rant about the Salvation Army or anything, even though they didn't give me a meal once when I was younger, and I actually did need one, and I actually was homeless in a different town, but it was fine. I wasn't actually homeless. I was just traveling through the town, but I was hungry, and the Salvation Army wouldn't feed me. It's all right. I'm trying not to do jokes. My natural inclination for this would be to sit down, write a monologue, deliver the monologue, but that feels very disingenuous, and I don't want to. Some people on Twitter asked if I would put up some comedy, and so sure, I'll share some comedy, and I'll keep updating this page. We've pulled back from the edge just with the amount we have thus far. We should be able to make it to when they pass the stimulus, right? But any further funds will be spent on a car. One of the scariest parts of this was realizing, with this sinking gut feeling, that's like, we're going to be evicted. We don't have a car to sleep in. Like, when I said we have nowhere to go and we don't know what to do, I was dead serious. I mean, we have nowhere to go. I mean, if it was just me, I can live on a couch. I can sleep in a shed. I don't care about myself. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But it's not. It's, I have to take care of my mom, and my mom can't live in a shed, and she can't serve couches with me. My friends don't want her in their houses, and I understand. That's fine. It's my problem. It's not theirs. But I talked to a friend of mine. See, I've never done the GoFundMe thing before, so I don't know what is and is not appropriate. And she said that you cannot be too cheesy or sentimental. So I thought I'd play a little song. This feels very, very cheesy, but I don't know. I've got some original songs, but they're sort of jokey, and I don't know if anybody wants to hear that anyway. But this is just just as a nice little tribute to the people that have already donated. Anybody that would like to, I don't know. I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna talk myself out of it. Sitting here right now, almost talking myself out of it, almost hitting the stop button on this video. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna play the song. I'm just gonna play the song. And if you're looking at this guitar being like, well, why didn't he sell the guitar if he was starving? Because this is the Doom Machine, and it's gross, and no one wants it. This guitar has come with me into some of the worst parts of South Miami, and just places where you can bring a guitar there, but when you bring it back, it's pregnant. It's not gonna fetch you any money, but I can play a song. Pace. Only you make this world seem right. Only you can make the damn shit. This is why we don't do these things in one take. Well, I've already been recording for 8 minutes though, and I really liked the way this went. The whole point was that I'm going to try it again. All right. Only you make this world seem right. Only you can make the darkness bright. Only you alone, thrill me like you do. Fill my heart with love. Only you, only you make this change in me. For it's true, you are my destiny. If you hold my hand, understand the magic that you do. My dream come true. My one and only you. I would like to re-record that very, very much, but I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't. And now that was not a very good version of Only You. even by like the weird shitty punk rock standards I was trying to do it at. And now I'm thinking about, well, let's put the guitar away. Let's just it's fine. This is 10 minutes. This is, I'm sure, probably longer than it needed to be. You know, in for a penny, in for a pound. You donate into a comedian, there's gonna be a wealth of material. I can. So people keep asking for jokes on Twitter. It's like, I mean, I got jokes. You know, I mean, just this year it's a nightmare, but it is vaguely funny. You know, because like, I mean, I'm a big sci-fi fan, always have been. And you know, like sci-fi, they always pick arbitrary years in the future to seem futuristic, like times that are far enough away that we don't know what's going to be happening. It could be anything at all. And a lot of the time, things like Johnny Mnemonic and stuff, it's like 2020 or 2021, or in this area. And so, you know, I've always naturally assumed that I would live till 2020. Well, sort of, but I mean, you know. And I wondered, you know, like what it would be like when we get to the future. You know, and I was hoping when we did get here, it wouldn't be, you know, I wasn't excited so much about the hoverboards or like the flying cars or, you know, lasers or jetpacks and stuff. I was really just hoping that when we actually reached 2020, I can trap myself in a box for 8 months. That's what I was hoping. Really hoping the future would be like. I was just hoping, like, man, I just don't like all this freedom of movement. I really just was hoping someone would just confine me into a very, very enclosed space with my mother and cats and just leave us in here just to simmer for a very, very, very long time and then threaten to take the box away. Not even threaten, intend to take the box away that we are in. Okay. Anyway, that's lapsing into material. Again, I can't thank everybody enough, particularly Ali Velshi and his staff at Velshi. You guys are unreal. Like, you know, it's so important to do this. Like, it's so important, and it's so important to keep the conversation focused on us, because the rest of it, I mean, everything matters. Of course, it matters. But people don't realize, or they don't want to, and they have to be forced to, understand how desperate we are. I think people genuinely think, everybody has a relative they can call, or somebody that just got too much pride to ask for money or whatever, and it's, nah, that's not the case for everyone. I'm so happy for anybody that has that. That is so nice. But, you know, some of us had bad families that we don't, you know, that don't care, basically, that just don't care what happens, you know, one way or the other, die on the streets or become king of England. They really wouldn't have a reaction either way. I mean, I imagine they'd have a reaction to the King of England thing. I think it would be overwhelming bitterness that would never end, along with a series of phone calls in which they would request jewels or something, but that's how it goes, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. Thank you to everybody. I'm going to keep this going. Like I said before, the further funds will be used to get a cheap used car, so when we actually can leave the box, we can actually leave the box, which would be very nice. That would be super helpful, because that was the other part of this. You know, people are like, well, why don't you just go to the food bank? And it's like, no car. And they're like, well, why don't you? And I'm like, Uber? You're gonna say Uber? I'm in quarantine. I can't. It's, yeah, you know, this is the reason that it's been so difficult to get advice, and one of the reasons why I reached a point of desperation is literally reaching out to the news media, being like, what do I do? And it, you know, it's been such a frustrating and upsetting year. And it's been horrifying. I think we're all gonna have PTSD from this year. Literal, no joke, not being exaggerating. I think literally We have not processed the amount of death that has occurred in this country and that is occurring and the threat level that exists. And a lot of people, I think, just decided, I feel like it's done. I'm just over it. As though you can get over a virus, which, you know, you can't. I mean, you know, you can survive it, or you can have no symptoms at all. This is the craziest virus that ever existed, and that just, you know, some people get it and they're good. I have a bad feeling that we're not in that group. But you know, but who knows? Gotta stay in the quarantine. But sorry, I'm rambling, which is why I generally write things and then deliver them as monologues. And you know, in chunks of stand-up. Okay, I'm gonna stop on this one for now. This is like 16 minutes. This is way longer than it should be. But like I said, I wanted to do something a little more heartfelt. Stammers and misspeaking and false and stop starts on an Elvis cover. Actually, I think that's the Platters, but whatever. It's, you know, my name is Evan Fowler, and this is the kind of guy I am. So this is probably the most appropriate way I could make this video. Subsequent videos may be a little tiny bit tighter and not quite so long. Yeah, I just leave it saying thank you to everyone who donated, and to anybody that has anyone's ear that matters. Tell them we're starving. You know, I'm in a better place right now, but even with what we have raised, we will still hit a wall because we will likely, all of us, still be trapped. Like, we don't know when the vaccine will come. Half the countries doesn't think it's real, and some of them think it's like secret microchips from the future and witches. And this year, it would be funny if it wasn't killing us. But I will update regularly. I'm probably gonna. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I will update regularly. I will keep letting everybody know what's going on, and thank you again. And I will talk to you soon.